I would like to start with a quotation of a Greenlandic social anthropologist, Aviaya Egede Lunge, and she says in a paper the following words: "We have always been taught we were one of the best colonies of the world. No slavery, no killings. We learned it through Danish history books and from Danish teachers. With the books telling us how fantastic a colony we were, books about primitive Eskimos, books written from Eurocentric economic or self-justifying angles, we haven't really looked beyond this historical oppression. We went directly from being a colony into becoming a part of Denmark. We learned to be Danish and we learned to be thankful. Why then should we have had a reason to decolonize? And why should we have a reason to ask questions about the 250 years of colonial presence?" And then from the colonial side, Naya Durendom Graupgård testimonies, she is actually from Greenlandic descent. "From my experience, Danish national narratives ignore Denmark's history as a colonial power and its consequences. For example, when I was taught about colonialism in primary and secondary school, I mainly learned about the colonial empires of Britain, France, the Netherlands and Spain. However, little was said about Denmark's role as a colonial exploiter in Greenland, Iceland, the Faroe Islands, West Indies, in India and Africa. The same holds true for the Dutch situation related to Indonesia. Our own military actions were softened off. Greenland has many reasons to reflect on its past, even connected to old museum collections which were built in the colonial past."
So tell me, what's very important to pass this knowledge to the people nowadays on Greenland? Why is it so important?
Because Inuit religion, cosmology is taboo. Taboo. You are not no more talking about it, and since the Christianity was introduced, and you have a big missing link on your identity. You have very big loss of your history, because much of the oneness is kept, how do we call, like this? Yes.
Shut.
Yes. Not to be allowed to talk about, because it's about the other beliefs. So, though the culture is whole one, so we Greenlanders today have too little knowledge about our history, about our life, why it is like this today. This wholeness, oneness is gone nowadays, because we have stopped to talk. We are not allowed to talk about the oneness of our society, of our beliefs, of our lives, of our community, and so on. We are living in a, we are colonized. We are Europeans now, though feeling we have missing link back behind in our behind our lives.
Yes.
Yes.
So you came all the way from Groenland,
Yes.
Greenland, all the way to Schravenzande here in the Netherlands,
Mm-hmm.
the depot of the National Museum of Knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
to see this piece of cloth.
Yes.
Don't you have those pieces of cloth yourself on Greenland?
We have very few, not as beautiful as this one, not as so continued as this one. This hood, very narrow, very long hood, because we have other ones with very like like those.
Yes.
Yes, very different. We have others, but this is similar to some. We got 3 or 4 from 1800, but National Museum of Denmark does keep those, and we have very few. So it is important to collect information about how it's changed, how it's discontinued or continued.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I continue. I will try to make it into 10 minutes. So we started a project around our photograph collections to visually repatriate the collection.
Kise choptu.
Tana atso
Eh.
atipito okaldo sain chorita okaldo na machira ba attegri maya cha
No tatsossivi. Tiitarilaamu ikaartsimalartita. Iuttiarmat. Iuttartangartu okaltua oqarpuut. Ipai tuqaluqatingiippuut. Kungippingassunguujarpala mitaaritta. Taakisiloqarpuut. Qanisartila mitaatsulu atsukkartutsanertuu peqqingi kaaminiinnialisertutsanertuu. Taqarpuut ilu peqqingi kaaularneranni tamattavangi peqqikkaayuuttula kungisut. Kungisut ilu mitaartut. Tigiaraatti peqqikkaayuleranni taalieriaraalu taisiraliilarippuittini. Uari attilarnittinni ilu peqqikkaayuleranna ternissaattinni sortu maayunnarti.
So one photograph can tell more than 1,000 words. So why do we strive for visual repatriation? I go quickly through my slides. The main reason was because the people connect so strongly and relate themselves to our photograph collections. I used the photographs for doing a PhD research on clothing and identity, and then people strongly were highly emotional, and they recognize grandparents or themselves as children. So the Roots to Share project, which it is called now, has several ways of connecting and transferring the collection, making connections to the source community by exhibitions in the Netherlands and traveling exhibitions back to the region. And we invited 5 Greenlandic consultants to the Netherlands to study the collection with us. And this process has been filmed. And these 5 people helped us also to make decisions about the website which we built. There were school children from East Greenland who, in East Greenland, I met the teacher in Kulusuk, Annemette Holm, and she, together we looked at websites from the museum in Copenhagen and from the Leiden Museum to find cultural heritage from that area. And that was an inspiration for her and her school children to invent new objects, children's art, which they granted after all to this museum, and it's now part, you can see here the objects the children made. It's part of the collection in Leiden now. And they made, with the help of her teacher, their teacher and the museum, their own exhibition here in Leiden, which was really an amazing thing for them to do and to learn. And the Dutch television, the Jeugdjournaal, the youth television, made recordings, and for them it was very exciting and a way to connect old collections to the younger generation. And then we introduced the project into the local community in Tiderida. These people are talking about photographs and naming the people they see on the photographs and connecting themselves by kinship relationships. And this is the Roots to Share website we built. And you can see we added 4 languages: English, Danish, West Greenlandic and East Greenlandic. And the people in East Greenland can write their own information in their own language to our database. We introduced that at the school. So you see here that the youngsters went to the old people's house, and they interviewed the grandparents. They came back into the school and translated the recordings into English and put that on the website. So that was a great educational tool. Here you see that grandparents are helped by her granddaughter, Susani, and because of the constraints of the technique, we had a standalone version and a laptop granted to the local community so that they could have access to the photographs without using the internet, which is very complicated and expensive. I just go on, there's no time. And I only would like to add a small comment on the different levels of ownership. There are several different types of ownership. The photographer, who was the curator before me here in the museum, their names are connected to the photographs. They are owners in a way. The museum as a power institution is an owner. And the local community has a different kind of ownership, which has to be weighted on a different level. And that's also an interesting topic. But I think I will stop here. Thank you for your attention.